Do you know what mewing is?
Mewing?
Mewing. Have you heard of that?
Could you spell that?
Well, Jack, back again with another weekly podcast.
Yep, we haven't missed a week.
We have a really
All
consistent
year.
schedule.
Yeah.
Can't believe this is number 50 already.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a great, consistent podcast.
Every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Consistency's key. That's what they always tell us.
Yep.
A lot's happened since the last one that was a week ago.
Yeah, we're just wanting to, everybody expects the weekly podcast,
right?
So we keep them on their toes, and then they're more excited when the next one drops.
It means a lot more when you get one a year.
Yeah.
Because last
first
time
one of the year.
First Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year. 2024. Happy New Year.
Almost 2 months in.
Nope. It's New Year.
Oh, yeah.
The calendar year actually starts when we drop a podcast. That's how it works.
Okay.
Well, let's just get right into it. I'm excited. You excited, Jack?
Very.
I'm excited because today's guest is well known by the seniors, and the rest of you will have your time. She has a heart of gold and a passion for helping students walk the path beyond high school. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Suzanne Rushing.
Guys.
Hey, Miss Rushing.
Hey.
Give you a second to get you settled in.
Yes.
That's always
This is fancy.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of fancy,
Oh.
you'll appreciate that. with your headphones on. Just one more.
Wow.
Got a little
Wow.
soundboard.
Fancy
yeah.
sound
Hey,
effects.
that
Little-
is cool.
That's also
Fine boom
new.
sound. Yeah.
Since last
I forgot
week.
about that. Jack, you want to hit him with it?
That's good.
All right, Miss
That's
Rushing.
pretty cool. Yeah.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing
Pretty
well.
good.
Doing well. Is this your first podcast ever?
Officially.
Officially? Oh,
Yeah.
some
I feel
underground
very
ones.
privileged.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Surprising, too, because your son had a podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
You didn't get an invite to
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
I
never
know.
got
Josiah?
invited.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know you're watching.
That's the way it works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, you guys rate because you asked me to come in, so I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Well, thank you, Miss
Yeah.
Rushing. So, can you just start off by telling everybody what you do if they don't know?
Yeah, so I work here at the high school.
Sweet.
Like you said, seniors are kind of my thing. So I work as a college advisor here for our high school. I work with Advise Tennessee, and it is a state position. So I'm not a White County employee, but I'm a state position that's hired to get to come in and to help our students be able to go post-secondary or kind of try to figure out what they want to do. So I'm actually, it's weird because I have to look at both of them.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's okay.
I want to split it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm here to just help students to figure out what they want to do after high school.
Okay.
And everybody has a different plan. Some students are college intending. Some students are workforce, military. So just trying to kind of work with the individual student to kind of figure out what best suits that student to do after high school.
How long have you been doing that?
This is actually year 3.
Year 3?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep.
So, what got you into it? What made you decide this is the place to be?
Well, it just kind of, they say it falls in your lap. And it really did. I really wasn't looking for this job. I actually was in the office working, just doing attendance.
Yeah.
Just kind of coming in and doing the thing and leaving. And I saw the other, Jennifer Spivey was here before I was. And I would walk by her office to go, the bathroom is conveniently located right there. And I would walk by her office and I would think, that is the coolest job. Because she just had one-on-one helping students. And I just saw that. And I was like, your job is so cool.
Yeah.
And so never thinking that would one day be my job. So it was just kind of one of those things. I felt like it just fell in my lap. And when she left to go to another school, she said, hey, you should look at doing that, because I already knew some of the students. I knew the building. I knew the teachers. So it really did kind of make sense just to step right into it. So I applied for the job and got it.
So, year 3, would that put you right around COVID when you started, wouldn't it?
It was right after COVID.
Right after COVID.
Yeah.
Has anything changed since then? Have you seen kind of the wear off of the COVID effects at colleges?
Yeah, I think that's actually a great question because it really has. COVID impacted the world, and so it impacted impacted the college going rate. So we really are working very hard to try to get those percentages back up, because it was hard. Nobody wanted to go to school when you couldn't go to school.
Right.
When you just did something online. So that really is a state initiative to try to get students to realize, hey, come back alive. You can go to college. You can do something. So it's definitely better now. It's getting better every year post-COVID.
Well, I know your job takes a lot of stress off of students too, because the last thing I want to think about is making sure I have everything filled out for college, but then you get us on track and make sure we got it all done. So that definitely helps.
I feel like that's really like my job, the part that it is wonderful and it's excruciatingly painful, because we have some students that are like, they're go-getters and they just take care of all the applications. They have maybe a support system in their family that they can easily get that stuff knocked out. But yeah, I enjoy helping students on track, because there is a lot. The senior year has a lot, from applying to scholarships to FAFSA, all of that. It has a lot going on, and so like for me to be able to walk alongside you guys and just encourage you and to like help you see the bigger picture, I think I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, and I'd say it'll be even more rewarding, like the further you get into it, where you can finally see students, because just 3 years in, you'll have people almost ready to graduate college, and then eventually you'll get to see your own students go on and into the jobs that I guess you helped them get to where they wanted to be to get to that job.
Yeah, I already love that, Jack. I really do, because I'm beginning to see now some of my students. I'll see them out in town or whatever, and they'll be like, "Oh, Miss Rushing, this is what we're doing," and just to see, like, because everybody has a future. And everybody, there's a plan, and just to see students, and it may not even be what we thought it was going to be, but it's like that's part of the process to get to where they need to go. It's already been cool to see that happen. So I think the longer that I get to do this job, the more that will happen.
Well, like you said, not every student, has college on their mind as their path and their future. So how do you kind of help students distinguish and decide where they're going to go after high school?
Well, I really feel like it's important to build trust with students to start off with, just to let them know that I care about them more than just to get them to go to college, right? Because college is not for everyone, but everyone has a future. So it would be, I would not be doing my job if I forced someone into, you've got to apply to college, right? Because that person may not be a good fit for them. And so for me, it's like building that trust with a person, finding out what they like, what their interests are, finding out like what they're bringing to the table, what is their GPA, what is their ACT score, what's their passion. All of those things, I kind of use that to be able to ask questions to students for them to kind of go, well, what do I want to do? And then I give them options. Like, you could do this. You could go to TCAT. You're good with your hands. Have you thought about going to TCAT? You could be done in 2 years or less, probably making more money than I do with a 4-year degree, right? But I would not be a good TCAT student, so there is not a one size fits all, but it's focusing in on the person and going, okay, what's best for Max? What's best for Jack? And no two people are going to be exactly the same. So yeah, I feel like that my role is to like educate students to be able to make the best decision for themselves.
So where'd you go to college?
Well, you probably have never heard of it, but it's called Ouachita Baptist University. Ouachita. It's Ouachita. So it looks like Ouachita, but it's Ouachita. It's just a small, like a private liberal arts college, Christian college in Arkadelphia, Arkansas.
Is it still up and running?
Oh,
still
yeah,
going?
yeah.
I know I've talked to a couple people who went to kind of small Baptist colleges, and a lot of them are just like shutting down over the past few years. Yeah. So glad to hear Ouachita is doing good, going strong.
Go Tigers. Yeah.
Go Tigers.
So that's where I got my bachelor's degree in elementary education. And I feel like that education is my background, but after my kids were in school and I kind of was like, I didn't really want to be a classroom teacher. So that's the cool thing about this job, because I feel like I get to be with students, I get to interact with students, help students, but I'm not like in charge of a classroom, which was just kind of not what I felt like, where I needed to be right now.
Right. Well, high school kids and elementary kids are a little they have a little bit different natures, but
Yes, and I actually love high schoolers, and that's something. When I went to school, I thought I want to be with the little. Third grade was like that was kind of my goal.
Right.
And sometimes we surprise ourselves of what we actually end up doing. I really love being with. I love you guys, and I think it's because I'm tracking with y'all with my kids, and so I feel like I kind of can understand y'all better. I understand what it's like to be a parent, that a kid is not just a bad kid if he forgets to do his applications, or doesn't meet the deadline. It's like I kind of go, okay, I understand that. I've had 2 of them in my home, so that helps me kind of know. I feel like helps me to be able to relate to y'all a little bit better.
are there any just challenges that you almost always hit, or some of the most common ones maybe? I know this year's kind of a weird one for college application. We can get into that, but just in general.
Yeah, I think it's kind of what you said, Jack. It's sometimes it's frustrating because I want everybody to get done with what they need to get done. Yeah. But then I know that y'all are very busy. You've got jobs, you've got family, you've got life, social life, and so it's like that sometimes is a frustration because I'm like, it sometimes takes time to get that done.
And I think as a student, it's like it feels so far away. So you're like, I got time, and then it's like, we graduate in 3 months.
That's
that is
right.
weird.
Yeah. That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. And people can tell you that, but until you experience it, you're like, "Oh my goodness,
yeah.
that's true." So I'm always looking for ways to help make that.
Oh no! Hey, great
Becky
segue,
Simmons.
Becky Simmons. Look at this. You selling your house? Making a statement right here.
There's her number right there.
There you go. This can be you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm constantly looking for ways though to help make it more simple for the students because, like I said, I realize it's a lot, and so I'm looking for ways. So that sometimes I get frustrated at myself because I'm like, how can I do this that I can keep it simple, help you guys get what you need, and go on to the next step. But not a lot of frustrations. It's a lot of good.
Yeah. So what okay, I want to talk to you about the ACT and stuff because I know that even in the past few years, a lot of colleges quit even requiring it, and then they're starting. I know UT for sure. I think last year it was the first year since COVID they required it.
Right.
So a lot of people were like, COVID's going to do away with the ACT, but no, it's still pretty important. So,
right.
do you have any commentary on that?
And that's what they call test optional. And they had to do it that way. From my understanding, was because people couldn't take the test.
Right.
And so a lot of colleges did do test optional, but I think what you said, they are returning back to that. And the ACT. Nobody ever asks me my ACT score as an adult, but it is important.
The colleges do.
Yeah, the colleges do,
Yeah.
and they have to have some system, But I tell students, and you've probably heard me say this, that ACT is not you.
Right.
It is 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 days where you have set aside to take this exam, and it is cumulative in that it helps you.
Hello.
Got all these little things.
Yeah.
It does help you gauge, and it's necessary, especially in a college going type thing. But yeah, so I think that you have to, and our school does a great job of preparing
absolutely.
students, ACT prep. I just don't want students to freak out about it because that's just not going to help you do any better.
So I've learned, going through the whole college application process, it's real. Applying to college is kind of the easy part. It's the financial aid and the whole just opportunities at scholarships, and that's really what helps too. So what's kind of do you have a system to help kids find scholarships for them, or?
Yeah, we just have I don't know. I think the senior year, y'all already probably feel it. It's very cyclical, you do this and then you do this. And people have said, so when is it not busy? I'm like, never.
Yeah.
We're constantly, y'all have felt that. We're just moving from one thing to another. So right now is really scholarships are, we have local scholarships and community scholarships that our donors here in White County and in the surrounding counties make those available for seniors. And that packet was due, this a couple weeks ago. So that's hopefully going to generate lots of money locally, from that. But then you also have your like your national scholarships. So it's a good thing for students, and it's not just your senior year, but really even before, to begin to kind of start looking for those scholarships that could help, because it all matters. I mean, scholarships, do not have to be paid back, and that's money in your pocket. And so it's very smart, very wise. I've heard people say it's like a second job to like pursue, to put applications out there and to follow up, because every scholarship may have different requirements, different deadlines, and you kind of have to track with that.
Yeah, it does seem like, I mean, if you wanted to spend every second of your free time putting it towards scholarships and applications, you could.
You could. You could.
Absolutely could.
Yeah. I think it's just having the balance of, trying to figure out the balance, because some of these, like at the 4-year schools, you guys know that when you submit that ACT and the GPA, then they have those boundaries of like, if you have this, then you could get this amount of a collegiate aid. And then you start stacking that with external scholarships. The Hope Scholarship is the lottery scholarship for the state of Tennessee, that if students have a 21 on their ACT or a 3.0 GPA, that gets them $4,500 at a 4-year school. Y'all, that is a big chunk of tuition, and so for freshmen and sophomore, I really would love for them to begin even then setting that goal of thinking, if I want to go to a 4-year school, that's $4,500 with an either or eligibility. So, I mean, and it really does matter.
Yeah, it is. It's very beneficial to look ahead, earlier in high school, and then not even like dedicate your life to it, but maybe like, maybe I do need to correct that test or study an extra night, because that GPA,
Yeah,
once you get into junior and senior year, it's hard to recover if you didn't really care freshman year.
That's right. But when you're a freshman, it's hard to think about that.
Yep.
I have a horror story. When I went to college, so my first semester, I'm going to tell y'all something that not a lot of people know about me.
Okay. Redacted.
All right. But yeah, my first semester, I had a 1.7 GPA. And I did not do anything, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I just had a good time. I had friends, and I mean, and it wasn't, I'm serious. I did not do anything illegal or anything. But I just enjoyed college. But my grades were like C's and D's. And so we had a little come to Jesus meeting with my parents, and they were like, you cannot go to a private school if you don't get your grades up. And so after that, I reversed that, and I graduated a 1/10 of a point from graduating with honors in college.
Yeah.
And that really was like, I thought, that was so dumb. Why did I do that?
Right.
But then I look back on it and go, okay, I couldn't change it. And it's okay that I didn't graduate with honors, but I had to work very hard to, kind of counteract the fun that I had that first semester. So I feel like I learned that lesson, and I want other students to learn, hey, this is a goal, but you got to be, you got to set your mind to it, in your daily classwork or even on your ACT. Those are things that hard work and diligence really, they do pay off.
Yeah, and I mean, it is crazy. Like, you guys won't know until you hit senior year like this, especially like the second semester, because really at this point it's kind of like, okay, sit back and let everything cook in the oven and see what happens.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it's weird.
Yeah.
It is really weird. So listen, from a student to a student, just, I don't know, try your best. Actually care a little bit.
That makes senior year just easy.
Yeah.
I have one class.
Well, and I love that y'all are saying that, because they can hear me say that and it would be like, okay, yeah, wait, but when they hear somebody who's in it say that, they're like, oh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
And that's really how we all learn. We learn from somebody who has gone on, maybe it's a season ahead of us, to go, hey, if I could go back, I would do it like this. And it really matters that you guys say that, because what you're saying is true.
I have a little brother, Mason, who's a freshman,
Shout
and
out
it's
to
like,
Mason.
yeah, shout out Mason. He'll end up better than me, and it's gonna make me mad. But see, I'm like trying to like mold him up, because like I was like, I'm literally like,
right,
I'm leaving this, and you're coming into it. And it is, I wish I would have had something like that just from the very beginning, to like whisper in my ear, even if I don't listen to it.
Right.
At least whisper it in my ear.
Yeah, true.
So do you have any, it's only been 3 years, but do you have any crazy success stories, something? What about, Josiah? He's kind of surprised.
Well, I feel like that success is when a student walks into my office and I greet them. And I'm like, I'm not from White County, so I don't know. I mean, we've been here about 7 years, so I know some people, but I don't know, like, history and story. And everybody kind of comes in at ground zero. And I feel like that success for me is when students come into my office and they may be nervous. I can sense that. It's kind of like, but then for them to just to know that, like, I'm glad to see them and I really want to get to know them. And there's a lot more of them, of y'all, than of me. So I have to kind of budget my time.
Right.
But, like, for them to know that I care about them, and I can't get to everybody, like, they're like to have a relationship with everybody, but for everybody to come into my office to know that I truly care about them and that I want to help them, and then I see them realizing, oh yeah, she really does mean that, and so then that's success. But then also success is just watching students that I see that like when things come together, and that's the beauty of, like, this year, because y'all are going to start to see, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I could do this, I could do that. And then you go, this is what I'm going to do, and you start to, like, walk toward that plan. And then I am able to see that, like, to keep up with you through your families or whatever, and go, I knew him. I knew her, and she's going out, he's going out and doing, like, making a difference in the world. And so that makes me happy. And then it makes me happy. I have a note on my desk, and it says, in essence, the student that is the hardest to reach, that's why I'm here. The easy ones are just like, that's just a joy, because I feel like sometimes y'all come in the office and I can relate to you on a very personable level, and it's just easy. But it's those students that may not have the support at home, or they may not have the drive, or even someone to say, Jack, you can do this. They don't have a support system. That I see a change in them, and I see, like, a light bulb come on. That makes me really happy, because those are the kind of kids that sometimes slip through the cracks, and I think, oh, I want to help them, but sometimes they're not ready for that, and that's just part of their process. And so I have to kind of see where I can fit into that, if they will allow me to help them. And then, but watching that student, the light bulb come on, or watching the provision, like, monetarily, or I don't know. That's what really makes me excited.
Well, you really do. I mean, make a huge difference. I mean, it's great to have somebody that knows what they're talking about to help, hold your hand basically along the whole thing if you need that. And so we really do appreciate you around here. And
thank you.
Like I said at the beginning, you don't appreciate her until this year. Until then, she's just hidden back there.
Well, that's part of my job is just letting people know that I'm here to help. And so I love it when I get a freshman, sophomore, you come into my office. I love being able just to start that relationship with them, because I think, okay, that I want to go further down, not just so that seniors know what to do, but it's because there are a lot of you. I just to keep up with that class. That's a task to be able to do that and do it. I feel like to do it well, it does take a lot. But I think that those freshmen, sophomore, juniors, that I would love to have that relationship before we ever got to the senior year. So they'll be like, oh, I know who I can go ask about that, And if she doesn't know, she'll find out. She'll tell me.
Well, I guess before we go, is there anything you want to say to those kids? Because I'm sure all the seniors at this point know of you or know you. So anything to the underclassmen?
Yeah, that would be the main thing, is just to know that I'm here and available to help you, and that there's they have a plan, that we want to help them to try to figure out what that is and get them the tools that they need to be able to step into that.
All right. Well, thank
and
you.
I have suckers in my office.
That's
true.
True.
Really, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, not much.
Nothing.
If that's not enough, I mean, I don't know what is.
There you go. The little things, right?
Let's see. Here, you hit one of these buttons. We'll just see
See
what happens.
This is like the randomizer. Have you guys watched The Floor on TV?
The Floor.
Okay, so it's a reality show
called
The Floor, and it's the randomizer. And so it's like, tick, 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 and you just never know where it's going to land. So
let's see where it lands.
Oh, that's the only one that doesn't have a sound.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
okay,
round two.
Try it again. Tick, 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 tick.
That was legitness.
That was legitness.
Wow.
Yeah. Sweet. That was legitness.
All
All right.
That's pretty cool.
Well, we'll see you next week for our weekly podcast, or 2025.
Yeah.
We'll see.
When we graduate from college.
Yeah, the last one was like
December.
September,
Well,
October.
I listened to your podcast.
Are you going to listen to this one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure I
I have a
will.
hard time listening to them. I don't like my own voice.
I have a hard time with that too, but we'll just don't we get like some credit if you get a listener like
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Some
Smash that like button.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, one last question. Do you know what mewing is?
mewing.
Mewing. Have you heard of that?
Could you spell that?
It's like I think it's
MEW.
MEW. It's like what all the cool kids are doing now, where they're like sucking their shit, or like, you know what I'm talking about.
I have to say I've never mewed.
Okay, so well, on this beat drop, you're about to mew for the first time, and just look at the camera, okay? And that's gonna be a little outro, okay? Ready, so. I taught Miss Allen what Riz was. You know what Riz is, right?
Y'all are just making me feel very uncomfortable.
Do you know what Riz is?
Riz?
Riz.
Yeah.
I can't say that I
Like
do.
you're full of Riz. Like that's that face, when you're like 14 and you're looking
So
at
I need to know mewing
and
Riz.
Riz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, but
I'll
you're
add
about
that
to
my-
mew. You're about to mew, and you'll be full of Riz. So you're about to experience both of them. Okay.
All right, yeah.
So just rehearse like. Do one
No,
of
don't
those.
I know. I can't
Okay.
do that.
No.
Y'all can mew and
can-
Riz, and you'll be full of
Okay.
Riz
Okay.
or whatever.
Well, you can
Hey, Max, why don't you just demonstrate for us?
you can Riz in your own way. Well.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Rushing.
Yeah, he's got the.